सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. After a long time, we start with 7. Yasva vijnanavan bhavati
Yastvavijnanavahan bhavati
amanaskas sada shuchihi
Amanaskas sada shuchihi
na satat padamapnoti
Nasatpadamapnoti
samsaram cha adhigacchati.
Samsaram cha agacchati.
That we saw. Yes? Say yes.
We did, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yastu vijnanavan bhavati
Yastvavijnanavahan bhavati
samanaskas sada shuchihi
Samanaskas sada shuchihi
satu tat padamapnoti
Satutpadamapnoti
yasmad bhuyo na jayate.
Yasmat bhuyo na jayate.
Yeah, these are read together because they are dyads. So we have already seen the last one. You know, these are recipes. How to go to samsara. You know, how to cook up samsara. It's a recipe book. The steps in the recipe. How to have more samsara in your life. If supposing there were a book. You know, there are all kinds of books. How to win friends and influence people. There is a book like that. How to become popular. The writer of the book became popular and sold enough copies. How to become rich. You know, of course, everybody will buy that. And supposing there were a book, how to have a step-by-step guide to having more samsara in your life. Then what do you have to do? You have to just fulfill 3 conditions. It's just a recap, okay? Because we didn't meet for Christmas Day and New Year Day. Just a recap. You just have to fulfill 3 conditions. Oh, only 3? I can do that. What are they? First, you have to be what is called avijnanavan. What is avijnanavan? Yeah, not here ignorant. Without viveka. Yeah, you have to lose the viveka. Sell it off at the flea market. You know, go to Saturday market and sell off viveka. And then come back as avijnanavan. Avijnanavan, the one who has, you know, not vijnanam, avijnanam. No sense of direction. Be a person with no sense of direction, no sense of goal whatsoever, no sense of perseverance. You know, be a drifter, basically, in through life. Whatever fancies come and they take you forcibly, allow them to take you forcibly, you know. And then the second condition to invite more samsara in your life. If you say, wake up and think, I don't have enough samsara, this is what you have to do. Then the second condition to fulfill is you become an amanaskaha, means take leave of your senses, literally. Mana means what? Manas?
Mind.
Yeah, manas is mind. Manaskaha means the one who has a tiny little mind. Kutsitarte kap pratyaya. You know, this pratyaya, what is that? Suffix pratyaya, kap. You know, why does the pa go away?
It's an it letter.
Ah, it's an it letter. It goes away. So what is left? Ka. You know. So like balaha means child. Balakaha means a very small child. Vrikshaha. What is vrikshaha?
Vriksha. Tree.
Tree. Vrikshakaha. Bush. A small bush. Bonsai. Yes, perfect. Vrikshakaha. Okay? Manasaha, either mind or one with the mind. Manaskaha, one with a tiny little mind. This is just said in a nice way. Amanaskaha means even the tiny little mind, in relation to that tiny little mind, you have taken vairagya. You have taken sannyasa with relation to the mind. Meaning, you have left the mind behind. That means what? There is no sense. What is the mind in this whole example of the chariot? Go back to what is the role of the mind? Reins. Reining what? What is at the other end of the rein? What are the horses? Senses. So the mind has a reigning influence, pun intended, on the horses. Correct? So the mind has to bring in the sense organs and say, not now, this is not for you, and if you eat this you will get sick, and please don't do this, let's go here, remember this is not what you have chosen. All these things, the mind has to have an influence over the sense organs. Amanaskaha means the one who has taken leave of the mind, meaning the reins are not being held in the example, the reins are left to do whatever they want. That if they are not tethered to the horses, the reins just go everywhere. And then the horses go in all directions. And the mind follows the horses rather than the horses, the sense organs minding the mind. This is our problem, correct? So that is the second condition to fulfill. If you want to continue to be in samsara, or you want to have a second dollop of helping of samsara in your life. And what is the third condition? Have ashuchihi. Ashuchihi means lot of ragadveshas. Pile them up, Have an extra helping of ragadveshas. Just say this ragadvesha is not enough. I have to morph into many, many more. So if these three conditions are fulfilled, when? Sada. Then what happens? Samsaram adhigacchati. The person, goes to samsara. Goes to samsara, it's a very funny situation. Goes to samsara means what? Right now, where was the person? If you have to go to samsara, then you are not in samsara. No, the person was already in samsara. Yes, sunk deeper into the quicksand, glub, glub, glub of samsara. Meaning what? Go to samsara means continue to reproduce samsara, and that's why it's called samsara. It's got a cyclical feeling to it. Born is gone, and then the memory of the birth is gone, and then the ragadveshas are not gone. Therefore, there is the jiva that is born. Then the jiva is, and then the jiva is gone, but not the ragadveshas which have multiplied. They are still here. This is how I am saying the samsara reproduces itself. Samyak sarati means that which reproduces itself with very little help from you. That is samsara. So this is a recipe to keep on being born again. And this is not a good thing, being born again. And I mean it in both senses of the term. Would not resist that, but anyhow. So I mean it in both senses. It's not a good thing. And people have a hard time. Because when the baby is born in any household, what does the person say? Oh, so cute, so sweet, oh, let me buy it a present. But you don't even know this child. No, but it's so cute. So the birth of a baby is something to celebrate, correct? Yeah. But that is all right. Celebrate away. But how long does the celebration last? Baby doesn't know anything, Baby is crying and wondering what all these people are doing and making this whole, crib area hot and all these faces staring into the cradle and making it frightened. The baby is not either blissfully asleep or disturbed by all this attention. And then the mother and the father and the grandparents think it to be cute. Grandparents longer because they don't have to deal with it every day. And but after a while, The parents also say, oh my God, is this our child? Wow, how come this is our child, We are so quiet, this is so noisy. And the child also after a while is convinced it is adopted because it is nothing like the parents. Child also starts to wonder, am I adopted? Because I am nothing like these people. Where did these people come from? And who are they to order me what to do? And of course the parents are despondent because it's never the right kind of child. Never the right gender, never the right age. They grow up so fast, they're not cute anymore. And then, all these things. And then, they don't listen after they are into teenage. You have to listen to them. And the children also are equally frustrated with the parents. Who are these people, So like this, nothing lasts, that which is a celebration, that which is called birth, is a package deal, is a beginning of a downhill package deal, because it ends up in what? Death. So between birth and death are sandwiched the other four modifications. Kim tat? Kim tani? Yeah?
Survives.
Kani tani? Yes.
Grows.
Yeah. So birth, jayate, survives the birth, asti, and then what? Vardhate. If it survives the birth, grows up, and then blossoms, viparinamate. Oh, this is all sounding good. Yeah, that's where it ends. Yeah. And then after that what? Apakshiyate. It's not a nice sounding word. Apakshiyate means declines, definitely not in a good way. I told you the prefix apa means bad news. So when you hear anything apashabda, and then when you hear anything beginning with apa, you just feel like cringing. Apakshiyate. And then what? Yes. Vinashyati. Finished? So therefore, birth to birth is misleading. That's why Lord Yama has a different take on it. Because after all, he is not an expert in birth. That he has left to Brahmaji. And later he is going to tell, Sa mrityoho mrityum gacchati. He goes from death to death. This is Lord Yama's take on this whole cycle of samsara. With a little, humor there. Yama is funny. Lord Yama is funny. And so he doesn't say you go from birth to birth. That sounds too nice. Who doesn't like a birth of a new thing? And, who doesn't like something new? But then when you say you go from death to death, you imagine one horrible kind of death, another horrible kind of death, There's all kinds of diseases waiting in the wings. Most of them don't yet have names. They are yet to be discovered. And named after some, scientist who discovers them. And most of them, all of them don't have cures. Because otherwise, how are they going to take the person out? If every disease had a cure, then everybody, we are complaining of overpopulation. Think about that. And so this is what it is. So there is every kind of disease waiting in the wings to take the jiva out. And then the jivas feel a sense of relief that I have been taken out of this horrible body that was suffering so much pain, so much weakness, so much difficulty. Yes, the jiva can have a reprieve. Small. Reprieve kaha. A tiny little reprieve. What happens? Tetam bhuktva svargalokam vishalam shine punye martyalokam vishanti. Where is this from? Bhagavad Gita. Such good students there are. Bhagavad Gita, yes. Having experienced all the fruits of the good deeds in various lokas, bigger lokas than the earth, then what happens? Kshine punye, when the punya bank runs out. Punya currency is like traveler's checks. It can be exchanged into any kind of lovely experience. You do it, it goes to various countries. You don't have to worry about exchanging the money in that currency. It's acceptable everywhere. But then the last traveler's check is spent and you are sad because you have to go back to where you came from. And here too, you are watching Rambha Urvashi dance, and then suddenly you are yanked out of the seat and then back in a crib, Yeah, maybe that's why all newborn babies cry, we don't know. And ask fundamental spiritual questions. What for I am here? Where did I come from? Where am I headed? What is all this? So this is the recipe for samsara given in verse number 7. Verse number 8 is the second part of the dyad. That was the bad news. And we don't stop there. We say, we see the good part of it. And what is the good part of it? Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. Same exact recipe, the opposite of what we earlier discussed has to come. So, vijnanavan bhavati means the one who has viveka, and here we have to also say vairagya, because mere viveka is not enough. Viveka says, I know what I need to pursue. Is that enough? No. Because I know what I need to pursue, I know I want nitya, I don't want anitya. Nitya means that which is infinite, that which is always the same, that which is the source of my happiness, that which I want to be. And then anitya means that which is finite, which is the cause of sorrow and fear, because all scarcity, all fear comes from things running out. And, and feeling like I don't have enough. Starting with self-esteem, one doesn't have enough of anything. And so therefore, the antidote to this, of course, is viveka. I know what I need to pursue, and then I have understood that what is finite cannot be quote-unquote made infinite by action, because the infinite is never a product of action. And if it's not a product of action, it must be uncreated, it's already here. And then the second thing this viveka helps me to do is to say that if it's already here, it cannot be away from me. If it's away from me, it cannot be infinite. You cannot say infinite plus me. If you say infinite plus me, you are adding two finite things. So if there is such a thing called limitless, it should fulfill two conditions. It should be uncreated. It's not a product of action. Anyone's action, your action, my action, a collective action. Ishvara also cannot produce the limitless. It's not a product. And the second condition the limitless should fulfill is that it should include you. If it doesn't include you, and you say, there goes this wonderful limitlessness, what happens? If you disinclude yourself, then neither is that limitlessness limitless, neither are you limitless. We are talking of two limited beings. And this is what happened to, exactly what happened to Arjuna. That's why the Bhagavad Gita did not stop at the 11th chapter. It should have stopped, with darshan of the Lord, such an auspicious place to stop. But the teaching wasn't complete. Why? Because Arjuna made himself, wanted to watch the Lord and spy on the Lord as what? Sitting in, other than the Lord. I told you the story yesterday of the two galaxies colliding, merging. So where shall I sit to watch this show? You are part of the show. You're not an audience. If you're an audience, then you will not be the show. And if you are a participant in the show, then you're not the audience. You are that consciousness which manifests simultaneously as the audience and as the performer, while at the same time being free of the status of the performer and the watcher. That is what you are. You are that consciousness which informs the audience and the performance, without being any one thing either. And so all this is viveka, in degrees. First, something is wrong, something is not correct, something is, funny. And then, oh, I'm just going about it the wrong way. Oh, this is the problem. Oh, what I want is already here, so I don't have to produce it. So I don't have to make it happen because it's already here. And then what? Oh, that could just be me. What I am seeking is really me. And then this is all Viveka in degrees. And then the second one, which goes hand in hand, is called Vairagya. Vairagya means having the courage to stop pursuing dead-end leads. Yeah. That's the thing. I have Viveka. I know everything is finite. And yet, I am after this one more finite trip. Why? Oh, well, and they'll give these examples. Krishna had, so much fun. He was surrounded by frolicking, dancing ladies, dancing women. See, he had fun. He had fun means what? He had fun because he had no ragadveshas. The less the ragadveshas, the more the world is fun. The more the ragadveshas, more samsara there is. I told you, one of the last recipes of samsara was what? Pile up on the ragadveshas. I'll have some more of those, you say. And so, when there are ragadveshas, then what happens is that it becomes tunnel vision. Only if I get this, I'll be happy. It's a setup for unhappiness. Everybody knows that it's a total setup for unhappiness. And so here, Vijnanavan Bhavati means Viveka. In the last one, it was just Viveka. Because trying to find out, where to go. Here it is Viveka plus Vairagya, both. Vairagya means stopping those pursuits which are not going to lead me to what I really want, which is the truth of myself. And seeing that as this truth is not produced, it's not a product, no amount of action or activities are going to lead me there. It is the study that is going to lead me there. But since I cannot sit still and be inactive, because even sitting still is an action. Bhagavan Krishna reminds us in the Bhagavad Gita. Sitting still is also action. So therefore, all my actions subserve the pursuit for the knowledge. And when the actions are reined in to subserve the pursuit of the knowledge, they are called yoga. That is what makes one a yogi. So eating, drinking, whatever one does, from the mundane to the spiritual, whether one is talking about puja or whether one is talking about reproducing the daily actions, cooking, cleaning, going to work, all this is converted into yoga because I am doing all this to become a manaskaha, the one who is in full possession of the mind, not amanaskaha. To reduce the ragadveshas. So if I have to reduce the ragadveshas, then it doesn't matter which actions I like and which I don't like. I have to do what I have to do. There is no like and dislike involved in it at all. You cannot say, I like this, so I'm going to do this. And I don't like this, therefore I'm not going to do this. That's not yoga. Yoga means suspending the likes and dislikes and putting the need for the action up in the forefront and suspending the likes and dislikes. So that I'm not always seeking what I like to do, but I'm learning to like what I have to do. This is a huge gap, a leap, a quantum leap into preparation for gaining this knowledge. You see, in the first instance, I choose my actions based on the sensory, dislikes and likes. I choose what I have to do based on, do I like it? Does it feel good? Is it making me comfortable? Oh, no, it's not making me comfortable. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good, so I'm not going to do this. So I try to choose. Are you successful in choosing? No. I mean, if you are married, you have to do so many things you don't like because you are dealing with one more ego. And if you are married in an Indian sense, then you are dealing with the entire village from which the person has come. You are not married to the person, you are married to the whole village. Yeah. And so just one person's raga dveshas are difficult to handle, namely one's own. And so then you add an entire another ego, that the one you have to deal with every day, who is called spouse. And then what? Then you add the whole village from which the spouse comes. That's a huge thing to get used to. Goodness. Then the children come into the picture, muddying it even more. Because when the children comes, then all your raga dveshas have to just, be locked up in the storage room, attic. Because the child is small, it's defenseless, it needs things all the time, it keeps crying. Didn't I feed you just now? No, that was 2 hours ago. How did you digest it so quickly? Because I'm small, this is what I do. But I want to watch a movie. No, I have to be fed now. I have to be cleaned now. I need something else now. I need attention now. So this whole parenting thing, and in the West they say 18 years. In India, so they don't know when to stop. And so I always put a cap, because I get questions like this. When is the time to stop parenting? And I say 50. Oh, when I'm 50? No, when your child, quote unquote, is 50, it's time for you to stop parenting. Oh, until 50 I can parent? Yes. How about 51? Don't push me, I say. Don't push it. This is what it is. Because in Asian countries, especially India, they don't know when to stop. They continue to keep on parenting, helicopter parents. Yeah, always nearby, hovering. And this is what it is. And so we have to, it's the culture. They take the Swadharma seriously. And it has its consequences, that's all. They take Swadharma very, very seriously. And here it's the other extreme. Both are extremes. I'm talking of ideal types. I'm not talking of any individual parents. I'm talking of ideal types. Here they are watching the calendar and crossing off. Okay, going to turn 18 in 360 days, 359 days, 358 days. They are crossing the calendar, Yeah. In the 17-year-old feels, what are they in a hurry for? Why they want me to move out? Of course, when you are 17, you have no idea of the influence you are having on others. Most of the time, not very agreeable influence. Because 17 means the entire person is a bunch of ragadveshas, walking ragadveshas. Wiping their feet on everyone's patience. This is what the whole thing is. So the 17-year-old is blissfully unaware. Why are they counting the days? Am I so bad? I'm great. In fact, the more you say, wait till, you're going to be 18, and you start sort of putting him out, so to speak. Him means jiva, okay? You're putting the fellow out, and isn't this an interesting job? No, I don't want to work. The more you try to sort of say things, the more they dig their heels. And now, after all this collapse of the economy in 2008, nobody moves out. In fact, the trend is to move back in. And the parents who were earlier little more strict cannot afford to be strict, because the parents are moving back in with their parents. So they cannot say anything to their children who are not moving out. So now looks like Bhagavan is making us go back to the joint family, of the past. Because it is economically more viable for more people to live under one roof, rather than each one go in one little motor car and in one little shack called house, and then you have your own little, life. You cook in little pots, and see, because what are you going to do otherwise? That is when you cook. Most of the time you go straight from the freezer to the microwave, Yeah, that's the life. That used to be the life, but now it is much more economical. Now they are thinking, they used to make fun of all the Asian, whatever. That was the trend earlier. Oh, look at these people, 20 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment, How can they get along? That's not the point. You have to get along. That is how much the money there is, that is how much space there is, and if you want space, your end of the couch is always there. You sit there, it's your private personal space, do what you want. Yeah, this whole thing of having a room of your own is just such a luxury. Most people in India, you will not understand. Oh, they'll say, what are you going to do in this room? They won't understand. No, you just have it. What are you going to do in this room? How big is this room? Why do you need the room? And then you stay inside with the door closed? Why? People don't have any clue. It's such a different cultural outlook. Because there it's about, no matter, first of all, there is shortage of space, shortage of money, shortage of everything. So you have to make do. But that making do, that adjustment, does a wonderful number on the ragadveshas. Yeah, it winds them up. It first, crashes and clashes against all the other egos, and then you resolve it because you have to live with this person. What are you going to do? You have to learn to get along. And in that learning, it's not just sort of suppressing your individuality. No. You allow yourself to shine, and then you learn to let the small stuff go. Not keep minding all these small things. And that helps the inner growth. You learn to live with people. This is an art that the West has to learn. You learn to live with people without condemning them and knowing full well that they are actually contributing to your growth. That is the next step. So who is there you can hate? How can you hate a person who is helping you grow? Not possible. So even that raga is gone. Correct? So this is what it is. This is a yogi. And of course this is not easy. It's karma yoga is not easy. It's the hardest thing in the world. Gaining knowledge is a piece of cake. Gaining knowledge is very easy. Karma yoga, which you need to gain knowledge, is difficult to gain. That is what you have to do. Because without karma yoga, the knowledge will not go in. A period of karma yoga is required. This is a very, very important. Either you get married and lead a life of a grihastha, because it adds to the growth, it helps you grow in the ways that we have outlined, or you live with other people and you learn to, you do things, you do work in society, you learn to, get along with other egos. And then you have to grow. You have to grow to a place where nothing and no one bothers you. And then it's not easy to do it alone. That's why we do it in groups. That is why the Sangha matters, Satsang matters. That's why marriage is yoga. Nobody marries for the sake of marriage. Marriage is for the sake of growth, really. And then you have to bring in Ishvara into the picture, because it's very difficult to get this Viveka. And Viveka is easy to get, but then Vairagya very difficult to get. Marriage definitely gives you Vairagya. What is the Vairagya? I don't think I should get married again. That is the Vairagya you get. Once is enough. So this is the Vairagya, because you have understood. And this Viveka Vairagya, and children even more Vairagya, and then neighborhood associations and this and clubs and whatever else you belong, parent-teacher association and some other things, and at your work there are certain other groups and associations. All that gives more Vairagya, provided you are an awareful person, understanding this, and provided your goal is not to just get along with everybody. That's not the goal. The goal is Atma Vidya. The goal is knowing this teaching as the truth of myself. That is the goal. And then all other things become, elements in preparation. That is what it is. It's all in preparation. So, Even to do puja, you have to do so much preparation. Go to the store, buy this, buy that, make malas, do this, get flowers, do all these things for the Abhisheka. Like this, it's the whole life is preparation. And such a person is called Samanaskaha. Samanaskaha is Manasasaha Vartate. The one who always is along with the mind, who is not mindless. Mindfulness. Mindful. Not simply having a mind, but using the mind to do what it being of an alert nature, intelligently alert to things going on within and things going on without. That is the one who is Samanaskaha. And then Sada Shuchihi, the one who keeps the Antahkarana free of Ragadveshas. That is the thing. Free means what? So that they don't disturb. They can remain there in a corner. Let the dust gather, When you stop looking at them, after enough dust has piled on, you stop looking at them, let it be. And then they just go somewhere and they don't bother you. Even when later on you dust them out and take them out, like you go to the attic and then you find a toy that you had played with when you were 5 and you say, oh, I could not sleep without this teddy bear. Is it still true? Are you still dependent upon the teddy bear? No, because obviously it was in a box in the attic. So even when you take it out, it doesn't have that charge anymore. It's like an old toy. It doesn't catch you, it doesn't grab you. It just makes you happy because it brings back certain memories, that's all. And sometimes misery also, it says, oh my God, I can't believe I cried over this teddy bear. But that's all it is. Now you can give away that teddy bear. You're not attached to it in the same way. You're not afraid of having nightmares if it's not with you. So this is what the whole, thing is. Sada Shuchihi. Sada means not kabhi kabhi, not, once in a while, but all the time. Shuchihi, the mind is free, cleansed of the ragadveshas. Satu, whereas, in fact, on the contrary, saha, such a person, tat padam apnoti. Apnoti gains. Apnoti gains. Same thing as prap. Prapnoti, apra plus ap. Prap. Prapnoti, apnoti gains. So, tat padam means that destination, that goal here, goal or destination, one gains. What is this goal? What does it do? This goal, yasmat, from which, bhuyaha, repeatedly, najayate, one is not born. Yeah. So the first goal that one gained earlier in the wrong scenario was what? Samsara. How to reach samsara, how to have more of samsara. Reach samsara means what? The one who is so deluded they don't know they are in samsara. How to make it more aware. And you pile on all these 3 things. Aviveka, avairagya, and no shama, no dhamma, full of ragadveshas. And then you go to more and more samsara. You are plummeted into the spin cycle of samsara. Keep going, third. And what is this third? One birth. Third. You keep going, like when you put something with something heavy in the dryer. This is the spin cycle of samsara. You keep going round and round. In beach may you have this third, little reprieve. And then, you keep going. It sounds uncomfortable. And how to get out of this, the recipe is given here. And so if you get out of this, what do you get? Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. You reach that destination, that goal from which this third business, you are free of the spin cycle of samsara. You are not in a cycle of rebirth, re-death, re-sickness, relearning how to cope with other egos. Relearning how to not take everything and everybody personally. Oh, but didn't I do that before? Yes. You see, Bhagavan is so kind, puts a curtain between each thud so that you don't remember what you did last time. Thud is equal to birth, okay? Yeah. So puts a curtain, drops a curtain, a thick curtain of Maya so that nobody remembers. You know, if you remembered all the karma yoga you did last time and it wasn't enough because you thought it was all, but that wasn't all. You know, what happens? You get depressed, you don't feel like getting out of bed. That too mixed with this winter weather, it's a very difficult situation, a very bad mix. And so therefore, Bhagavan gives you the blessing of a fresh start each time. Start anew, start afresh. But then there is a nagging deja vu feeling. This raga dvesha, seems to be a long-standing one. How many lifetimes have, done the same thing? Some deja vu feeling will be there, a vague sense of familiarity. And studying Vedanta also there is a vague sense of familiarity. Studying the Mundakopanishad, I felt like I knew what was going to come. The first time when I studied it, I said, oh, after this is going to come. And then I would just sort of, preview and look further, and that's exactly what it was. It was really uncanny, So that is how it is. There's a vague sense of deja vu. Even with Vedanta, it feels comfortable, it feels like the correct thing, unless the Ragadveshas, newly minted or old ones, take you away from this sense of rightness, from the sense of pursuit. So here, Satat Padam Apnoti reaches the goal from which there is no other goal to be gained. That is what? Yasmat Bhuyo na Jayate, that will take later. What kind of a goal is it? It's a goal attaining which nothing remains to be done, nothing remains to be sought. All that you seek is gained, as it were, through the seeking of this goal alone. How can you say that? Because really speaking, everybody has one goal. Even though there are many pursuits and many desires which fuel those pursuits, ultimately one seeks to be free of desires and longings. Really, that's what it is. One seeks contentment. What is contentment? Happiness. What is happiness? Can you be happy having lot of unfulfilled desires? No. So contentment and happiness is nothing but freedom from desiring. And when can that happen? When whatever I want I have got. Otherwise you cannot have freedom from desire. But how can I get everything that I want? Sarvan kaman samyak ashnute. Samashnute. Sarvan kaman samashnute. Bhagavad Gita? Taittiriya. Yes. Sarvan kaman samashnute. The one who digests, assimilates, enjoys all desires at one stroke, gains all desires, as it were, one stroke. When the person gains Brahman. Same thing, the word ap is used there. Brahmavida apnoti param satu tat padam apnoti. That same, it's very interesting. There is a trajectory here, a continuity. There also apnoti gains, here also apnoti gains. And there what does the person gain? Sarvan kaman brahmana saha, being Brahman, gains. In the form of that which is limitless, I understand that all my desires were really to be completely contented and fully free of longing. And that is the seeking. Every seeking is to seek to be contented, seeking to be accepting of oneself, seeking to be whole, seeking to be free, seeking to be happy, seeking to be limitless. You can call it by many names. But that seeking is an inward seeking, not an outward seeking. But not knowing that, Everything, all my quest is distracted outwards. But since there is no in and out, what is out is Brahman. Brahma paschat, Brahma purastat, purastat Brahma, paschat Brahma, adho Brahma, urdhvam api Brahma. Up and down is Brahman, left to the left is Brahman, to the right is Brahman. All the directions are Brahman. So whatever you seek is what? Brahman. Oh, so then let me seek my raga dveshas. Yeah, but if you don't know that, you have to know that. If what you seek is Brahman, if you know, then you see through the finite object of the desire. The finite desired object resolves into I, which is Brahman, resolves into the content of the desirer, who is Brahman. So the desire is Brahman, desiring is Brahman, the desired object is Brahman, the desiring subject is also Brahman. When I know this, sarvan kaman samyak, completely, fully, ashnute, I have made it the purpose for which I have been incarnated repeatedly, I have resolved. This is a big thing. So tat padam apnoti. Tat padam means gains that goal from which there is nothing more to gain. One is contented, there is nothing more to achieve. And does that mean, and this makes people nervous. So what will happen to scientific progress if everybody gets moksha? Everybody will be sitting down doing nothing, eating peanuts, and then watching movies, maybe not even that. Watching the world go by, world is itself entertaining. And you can keep changing the channels. Unlimited reality shows are there. Which one is a reality show? Mithya pretending to be Satyam, that is the best reality show. And then, so this is the whole world is there. So then what will happen to scientific progress? Because if you say that all motivations for achieving something is desire, and if there is no more desire, oh my God, the world will just stagnate. There will be no more technology. iPhone 6, now it is on 6? 7. iPhone 7 will not be released. Yeah, iPhone 7 will not be released. And then, iPad will become iBad. And then, all these things. And all the technology will just stop. Apple will go out of, not Apple, the company Apple, which has a bite taken out of it, will be just, gobbled up. It will not remain in business, because there is no technological, because who will feel like buying anything? Because everybody has moksha, nobody is going shopping, nobody is doing anything, nobody is writing anything, because why to write, I have moksha. And nobody is teaching, why should I teach, I have moksha. And then everybody is contentedly just sitting around, lolling around in a bed of moksha. This is a kind of a collective Vedanta students' fear. And sometimes people gather the courage to ask it also. Now I will answer it before people ask. And this very important question, and the question is what will happen when everyone gets moksha? And therefore, if everyone is going to lie around, not being active, not helping the people in distress, not helping social justice issues, then I don't want moksha. I will have vairagya towards moksha. I'd rather be involved in all the things that matter in the universe. I will say that the desire is a fuel for action, yes. Desire and action are tied together. But what kind of desires? The raga dveshas that create pressure to fulfill something. That is what the unmanageable desires is what we are talking about. Adharmic desires, unmanageable desires, desires that manage you, desires that are not in keeping or in line with the pursuit, are not needed for the pursuit. Those are the desires we have to package and send away somewhere, suspend at best. But the desire for moksha is already inbuilt. It is uncultivated, unlike desire for TV. Desire for TV is cultivated. How do you know? How do you know? Because the ancestor lived fine without it. So this is a cultivated desire. So the desire for moksha is an uncultivated desire. And then same thing, the desires are Bhagavan. You are not trying to remove desires. Desire in the heart is the manifestation of Ishvara. So long as they don't manage you, so long as they are not adharmic, go against dharma, flout dharma, and so long as they don't try to make you, pressure you to fulfill them, and so that you end up violating those very values of ahimsa and all other values that you enshrined as being important for your life. Ahimsa, satya, dharma, truth speaking, following the correct way, being fair to people, not hurting people, all these things. All the things that you hold dear, you yourself violate. It's a violation of yourself. That is going against dharma. So those kinds of desires are what are given up, really. Those kinds of desires have no play and agenda to compete, and so to get ahead, because when one knows one has moksha, there is nothing to get ahead, there is no one to compete with. Everybody is an extension of you, ideally speaking. So where is the competition? Where are you trying to get ahead? Because you have gained that, tat padam apnoti, you have gained that which is to be gained. There is nothing to get ahead. So whatever you do is spurred by desires that are good for everyone. Loka sangraha. Or they are harmless, like the peacock feather in Krishna's hair. He just put one peacock, sporting a peacock feather. Sporting, what is this? Flute. Yellow color, Pitambaradhari, having Radha at his side. These are all just glories. They become harmless glories. All your desires become vibhuti. Something to smile at and say, oh, this is wonderful. You can only smile when you don't cry without it. That's when you can smile. When with it or without it you are smiling. With it maybe it will make you smile more, but without it you are not crying. That's all it is. You are the same. You can only smile when you don't cry, when you don't have it. And so all desires become glories, and such a person, you can have whatever you want, you can do whatever you want, but it doesn't touch you. It may help others, but it's certainly not going to hurt you or others. And so the progress will not be affected actually. So every teacher teaches because of desire, every student studies because of desire, but those desires come in the spontaneous cosmic flow of what needs to happen. So those desires and Bhagavan's intent for the Jagat go in tandem. And the person becomes an instrument of Bhagavan's desire. And that Bhagavan is ultimately you. That is what it is. And so you become, even in the Bible it says, may I be an instrument for your peace. That's really what it means. That if I don't have any desires, and then certain desires I see arising, those will always be shubhecha. Shubhecha means, shubha, ichha. Ichhas, the desires that are always auspicious. Such a person is called Satya Sankalpa. Anything they intend becomes a blessing for the universe, the blessing for the people who are affected by that intention. Even though it may seem harsh, or it may seem unnecessary, or whatever it is, it's really the intent itself acts as a blessing. And that's why it is said in the Mundakopanishad, Atmagyam hi archayet bhutikamaha. Bhutikamaha means people who want samsaric ends. Bhutikamaha, bhuti is samsara. People who want ends within samsara. I want my children to grow up well, I want them to have good education, I want my family to be good, I want to have money, I want to have a good job. All these are valid desires. They are not going against dharma. So if you want that, worship the person who knows the Atma. It says that. So what will happen if I worship a person who knows the Atma? Archayet, worship, may you worship the person who knows the Atma, because the one who knows the Atma doesn't have those desires. So your desires that person becomes an altar for your desires, to surrender your desires to, and if your own prarabdha does not object to it, they do come true. They do come true. But if a strong prarabdha is there, it doesn't come true. So that's what it says, because the Atmagya just goes along with whatever you want, so long as what you want is in keeping with dharma, and is good for you. That's all it is. So therefore, Satat Padam Apnoti gains that place from which there is no looking back, there is no going back, and there is certainly no rebirth. Yasmat bhuyo na jayate. That is actually incidental. You need not even have that part. Because who is interested what happens after the body falls? But for those that might be worried about coming back, and to keeping in view what went before, samsaram adhigacchati. And here the opposite is true. Yasmat bhuyah na jayate. Natasya pranaha utkramanti. The pranas of such a jnani after the body is given up do not rise. Because there is no the subtle body goes back to subtle elements. The gross body is left behind to merge with the gross elements. What about the causal body, Karana Shariram? Where does that go for the jnani? Where does the Karana Sharira? 3 kinds of bodies, correct? Are we on the same page, or are we talking about different things? We are talking of the same things. Okay, good. So what is the first body? Gross body. And what happens to that? That is left behind for all to see. Okay. Then the subtle body. What happens to the subtle body? Joins the subtle elements. Gross body joins the gross elements. What about the causal body?
Let's go back to the cause. Vishwa.
No, it keeps going. Only if you come back again. If
You don't come back again. That's the discussion right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't come back again.
Then the causal body goes.
Yeah, very good. Causal body is gone because the causal what is the causal body? You have to understand. There will be a quiz after this. So causal body is what? Ignorance. Atma Ajnanam is the causal body. That is the material for the body. The limbs of the body is Ajnanam. Limbs are desires. The body, the torso is Ajnanam. And then you reach out, because of Ajnanam, I want this. One hand grows out of the causal body, a causal hand. And then another leg comes out, This is, the causal body is just self-atma Ajnanam. Self-ignorance is the causal body. And in the Atma Jnani, is there self-ignorance or not? Oh, this is going to take a long time to deliberate. Yes? No? Of course not. There is not a trace of self-ignorance. So the causal body is already resolved while alive. That is what is called Jivan Mukti. The resolution of the causal body in the wake of the self-knowledge is called Jivan Mukti. So don't say the causal body joins the causal elements. There is no causal elements. Ajnanam is the causal body.
Unless it's the causal for you coming back.
That exactly. That's what it is. Causal body means the cause to come back. Correctly said. Karana Shariram, Karanam for what? Karanam for rebirth. Karanam for samsara. And that Karanam is Akaranam. No more Karanam, because that Karana is not there. The Karana is there because there is ignorance centered on the I. When there is no ignorance, there is no more the causal body. This is what it is. So the causal body is annihilated. Nice way to put it, yeah. When the knowledge is there, the causal body and self-knowledge cannot coexist together. Yeah. People online have said this. So, when the knowledge is there, causal body, lopaha. What is lopaha? Adarshanam. There is no causal body, gone. The causal body has done its job. What was its job? To gain knowledge. That's all it is. Yasmat bhuyah na jayate, does not come back again. Thus spake the Kathopanishad. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. अच्छा बोलिए. Yeah. Any questions? Good. Glad you enjoyed it. Any questions here? Namah.